So in this video we're going to take a look at a new utility iron from Wilson. We've got the staff model. First looks very beautiful looking, as we know with Wilson irons. I play the irons myself, they are quality, so really interested to see if this was potentially something that can go in my bag. I currently have the Mizuno Fli-Hi Pro, which I really sort of enjoy, black head, so I'm going to put it up against that in this particular video. I'm going to lose some numbers on TrackMan indoors, but then also hit some out here off the grass, and maybe sort of a shot that might be chasing into a par 5 for me out on that golf course. So we're going to hit it off the ground as well as off the tee. Okay, so staff model from Wilson. So let's take the first looks at this particular club. We've seen the introduction of the new blades and the new CB irons, which do look phenomenal. We've got that new badge that Wilson have brought out where it's lost the WS, so we don't have that Wilson staff in there, just a plain badge. We've got this satin finish with this like high gloss back section across the back of it. We've got the RB Tech, which we'll talk a little bit more about the technology inside this utility iron. Staff model logo, Wilson logo on the inside of the hosel, and more of a satin sort of finish to it. Now, the previous model that Wilson brought out in the utility iron was a great club. It was really forgiving, but it was quite a bulbous looking golf club. First impression was this is sleeker. This is really good looking golf club. So behind, in that playing position, behind that golf ball, obviously what we tend to see in utility irons is a thickish top edge. We see a little bit of the back just sticking out behind that top edge, but it is a slither, so we saw a lot more in the previous model, so it doesn't draw your eye away from the club face, and a bit more of that real sort of neater look in a way. Decent blade length, but just more slimmer in that look. Tiny bit of offset, looks really good actually. So my current game in the bag is Mizuno Pro Fli-Hi, black head, a little bit of a chunky look to it, to be honest, a little bit more of that back edge sat out the back of the golf club. I really like it, to be honest. I've had this in the bag for a while. It feels quite easy to use, and I really like the sort of feel of it. So I'd be interested to see this Wilson up against this and we can get any gains. We've got exactly the same shaft and grip and length and flex, so this is going to be a real sort of equal comparison. So I've hit a batch of shots with my Mizuno Pro. We've got those on TrackMan. I've hit them all off the ground to start with, and like I say, we'll go outside and maybe hit some off the tee, and so maybe show you some traces maybe outside. Okay, so where does the utility iron sit in the golf bag? So really this is maybe a hybrid replacement, so maybe players who don't like hybrids or don't get on with hybrids, or golf who maybe wants to see a slightly lower, more penetrating ball flight, which is definitely me in this area of the golf bag, then the utility iron will just sort of help you to do it. The advantage with this over a traditional maybe 2 iron is it's just a lot easier hit, a lot more forgiving, a bit faster on the ball speed. Hollow construction, as they generally are in this category. And we've got a high strength C300 face. That's going to help with some fast ball speeds, which is really what you sort of want from this type of iron. Probably going to use this mainly off the tee for those tight holes. That's where I would definitely sort of use it, or even maybe just trying to chase that second shot into that long par 5. And maybe for the guy who plays, or maybe the golfer that plays at that windy golf course, maybe that links course where you're trying to get that flight down a little bit more. You'll see these definitely going in at the Open Championship recently at Royal Troon, where the weather was pretty brutal. We saw a lot of these irons put in the golf bag to help with that lower ball flight off the tee. There's some internal rib structure in this Wilson iron now, which is helping with a little bit of strength and stability on those miss hits. Again, trying to put that energy back through that golf ball to keep up your distance on the slight misses. And then we've got a very tour inspired look is what Wilson's saying. I'll definitely agree with that in comparison to that last version, but this is right in my sweet spot is this. So 2 iron, 18 degrees. Oh yeah, and that's, I mean, that wasn't absolutely perfect on the strike, if I'm going to be brutally honest, but the sound is fantastic. Definitely that hollow sound, but I don't mind that in this type of iron. I probably wouldn't want that sort of feel and that sensation in that pitching wedge into a green where I was trying to really get a feel shot in there. But off the tee, I don't mind that. It feels explosive. You know, it feels like that ball's under control in terms of flight, but then it's going to go forward, which is fantastic when I'm playing into the wind. Great spin number there, 2.6 to start off with. Okay, so there's a slight toe shot, and that's flown fantastic. There's the advantage over a traditional 2 iron there. I'm going to get some real good forgiveness, that hollow construction, maybe that rib structure there helping out a tiny bit. Yeah, that's gorgeous. I've actually played with this a couple of times out on the golf course already, and I've really enjoyed it. The flight is exactly what I sort of want. I've hit some real like stinger sort of shots, which I do really sort of enjoy playing. Oh, that feels gorgeous. That feels really good off that club face. It's definitely a slightly louder sound to it over the Mizuno, I'll probably say, but that feels fantastic. If I can get that ball releasing out there, that 255, 260, that's perfect. Exactly where I'm sort of wanting it to be. Great, you know, if it's a tight tee shot hole or a demanding tee shot, I would always sort of drop into this. Definitely more so than a 3 wood for me. I don't really carry a 3 wood in the bag because I could just hit this out 260, it's perfect. Oh, there's a little tester. That was right off the bottom groove. So it's flown out a little bit lower. The launch is definitely a little bit lower. Probably dropped a bit of ball speed there. Spin's gone up because of that. So I have backed off a tiny bit of distance there, but it's one of those good bad ones. You know, if I hit that out on the golf course, all right, it's not my longest, but it's low into that wind. It's sort of up there and it's just going to release a little bit as well. So it's a one that you can gonna get away with a little bit more. And that's probably just that beauty with that over traditional 2-iron. Okay, so we're just going to keep the theme of hitting them off the ground at the moment. I'm going to start to play a couple like real sort of low stingers. This could be me chasing this into the wind, possibly into that par 5. So let's see what it's like off grass, off the ground, and we'll hit a couple of like low stinger shots. So all I'm really sort of feeling there to do that is just I'm moving the ball a tiny bit further back in the stance. I'm just feeling my weight staying a little bit more on my lead side. So I'm just covering that shot, getting that handle forward, controlling that loft. It just lowers that flight. That was even better. Not really hitting that hard, but that's a gorgeous flight, great strike, really good sound to that. Okay, let's see if we can flight one a little bit higher there now. So just gonna move that ball a little bit further up in my stance, not be too much weight on that left side. We're just gonna let this release a little bit more through impact. Okay, a little bit towed, but that's flown quite nicely. Oh, beautiful. I mean, that's so much higher there. So again, versatility, fantastic, great strike. So if you're trying to sort of hit one sort of a little bit more of a softer landing and maybe into a green on that long hole, where I'm not trying to chase it in there, maybe can fly it as a distance, but want it to come in with a little bit of stopping power, again, some little bit change in setup, it just allows me to deliver a little bit of a different loft. Okay, so we're just off a very small tee here now, which is obviously what I would use off the tee, as you would expect. So I'm going to tee that quite low. It's a little bit like you preferring the lie on a fairway really for me. I wouldn't have that teed up too high personally. I just probably feel a little bit more of a stock swing now. So I'm not trying to flight this really low. Okay, that's such a good flight from a really bad strike, to be honest. That was in that low heel, but get away with that. That's definitely one of those where your partners go, what a great shot that is, and you're going, oh, I nearly missed that. But you know, it's working, it's getting away, it's finding that fairway, which really is why I enjoy hitting these utility irons. Beautiful. Okay, so there we go, utility iron from Wilson staff model. Beautiful looking golf club, feels fantastic, it sounds really powerful, and I'm really enjoying the flight that I'm sort of getting with that. So I think that's going to just edge it into my bag and join up with my Wilson irons. Appreciate you watching the video as always, and hopefully we'll catch up with you all very soon.